Good night, everybody. And before I begin, I'd like to know if there's anybody from the HSE here present. Would they put up their hand, please? So, they're not here. 1. That no acute service be withdrawn from current medical general hospitals in the Midwest until a regional centre of excellence is built, resourced and ready to deliver that service. 2. That current services be maintained until a new system and services are in place, tried and tested. And also that the capital investment that I mentioned earlier take place, and that there is additional medical staffing. Now, at a meeting of the Friends of Nenagh Hospital last Monday night, I called on Minister Hoctor and Deputy Lowry, who were present, to clearly back these overriding principles, and they clearly did so.
There's a man over here on my right, and his name is Peter McMahon. He's from Monaghan, and he can tell us what the HSE will do to your community. Do you really believe that Nenagh will turn into another Monaghan hospital, where the loss of services has resulted in the loss of life and overcrowded A&E wards? Unfortunately, the answer is yes. Friends, our hospital is critical, absolutely critical to our lives. This is about more than just a hospital though, friends. It is about quality of life for you, for me, for our children, and all of our families in North Tipperary. I call on all of you who stand here and sit here tonight to support us in opposing these insane plans from the HSE and this government, and support our plan of action, which I will announce to you at the end of this meeting here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The amount of work between Nenagh, St John's and Ennis is about just over half of the acute medical work in the region. Now, if you send that work into Limerick, which effectively we will have to do if this plan goes ahead, you're doubling the workload of Limerick Regional Hospital. It is very unfair on Limerick Regional and very unfair on us.
30 seconds, Roisin, please.
Okay, so I just want you all, in this time of recession, to think about the actual funding things. It's all down to very common sense, lads. You know, just use it. Thanks.
Thank you. This report will put an extra strain on the ambulance service because it requires at least an hour and a quarter extra per trip to hospital. If you take the half hour, 40 minutes in and out to Limerick, turnaround time, both ways. It's going to put an extra strain on the community services because it causes patients to leave hospital earlier than they should at present. And they also talk about inappropriate admissions. This is particularly interesting as the patients in the hospitals are admitted after doctors have assessed them. So I'm uncertain who decides they're inappropriate because they get into hospital after a doctor has seen them and decided it was necessary. So our concerns are very real in this respect. And we would ask that a stop is put on the clock. A stop put to the clock for the implementation of this. Whether you realise it or not, it has started already because this week advertisements went out for the jobs in Nenagh Hospital and there was no advertisement sent for the surgical floor. Therefore, it has started. We need to express our concern and stop it. This is the only forum we have. Our voice must be heard. Let us not let it go by silently. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Colin.
The HSE seem to think that on a good day, with the wind behind us, it'll work. I actually had it said to me, give it a go and see. But I think it won't work. Limerick isn't ready. Limerick will fail us. And whatever our future is here in Nenagh in North Tip, we all need Limerick as patients and as doctors. But you know, sometimes I find myself actually not seeing how serious it is, but laughing instead, because I think it is actually at times laughable. And I've got this new line for myself, that I think that without the ambulances, the wards and doctors in Limerick, it's simply all a fairy tale of North Tip.
Make all emergencies travel to that central hospital. What do we get in its place? We get advanced paramedics and we get an extra ambulance. We are told that we will have better services. Already they have taken paediatrics, they have taken maternity, they have taken elective surgery and they've taken emergency surgery away from Monaghan to Cavan and to Drogheda. They did not put in an extra bed in any one of those hospitals. And those hospitals appear in the papers, in the media, on a regular basis for all the wrong reasons. And yet they're the two hospitals that are expected, and we're expected to believe we're getting better services. They are tricking us, they are conning us, they're trying to fool us. And our people have died in ambulances along the way trying to get there.
My life was saved by the Nenagh A&E being available after midnight. My life was saved as a result of the ambulance services that could get me into Nenagh Hospital within a few minutes of my accident.
My son was in a road accident last Christmas. He had a brain injury. He ended up with brain injury. He's doing well at the moment. But Nenagh Hospital saved his life. If he had to go from the Bursley Road to Limerick, he would have made Cork, where he eventually ended up. Now, I think the ambulance service is a fantastic service, but they're talking about this paramedic. There's no paramedic could have helped my son that day. He needed a team of doctors and nurses to help him, and he got it in the hospital. And I thank them very much for saving his life.
Thank you very much.
This implementation of closing down Nenagh Hospital is happening, okay? As we heard, there's ads going in the papers next week, and there are certain necessary services not being advertised for. So this is happening. We have to move quick in this. What the HEC are trying to do here is implement government policy. We had John Hogan up here a few minutes ago. I still don't know whether he's for it or against it, to be quite honest with you. It's a typical Fianna Fáil cry. But I will tell you something. This is all about privatisation, the privatisation agenda. The agenda that's been driven by the PDs and Fianna Fáil and government for the last number of years. Unfortunately, they're willing to kill people in North Tipperary to implement it. But there's a shock in place for Máire Hoctor and the rest of them that are trying to implement this privatisation agenda. Sinn Féin have stopped the private hospital, the planning permission for the private hospital. We took out a High Court injunction against it. It is stopped, okay? So that part of the plan is gone. We need here to fight and fight to keep everything we have left in Nenagh Hospital. We cannot have anything reduced. We cannot lose anything. What's happening here is the HSE are involving themselves in corporate manslaughter. John Hennessy and Paul Burke didn't come here tonight because you know that these guys are getting 50,000 each from the government to implement this. 50,000, that's blood money. That is blood money being given to them by the government when there's people in this country being told there's no money for them. What we have to do, what people have to do here now is to make their mind up that if this happens to North Tipperary, that no Fianna Fáil, PD or Green candidate gets a scratch off anyone in the elections in June. That's the only way they'll listen to people. Thank you.
But I can say to the people of North Tipperary, I've never let you down in the past. I'm there to work on your behalf, and I will be doing everything in my power as an independent and with some influence on this government to ensure that the people of North Tipperary get the best health care possible and that Nenagh Hospital is protected into the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Joy Kennedy and I work with Nenagh Hospital. I'd like to ask John Hogan there. He was going on waffling about the CT scanner.
Let's have no personal attacks. Just make your statement.
Well, he was going on waffling about the CT scanner. We have a CT scanner beyond the room for the past 2.5 years, gathering dust. The only ones that use it are the servicemen. And he's telling us we're going to be up and running in a few weeks' time. You're going around telling us that.
No, please, let's not personalise it. Just make your point. John, it's okay. Just
Nenagh Hospital does a good job. I don't see any Mary Herneys or Máire Hoctors or John Hogans.
You won't see them.
Over in the hospital at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning to see what's going on.
Oh, let's talk.
And see what we put up with. And we do a good job. We're very proud to work in it, and it should be left the way it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.